Welcome to the Penn State Show here on DK Sports Radio. I am your host, Audrey Snyder, and by the time you're hearing this, we made it to February. So that means officially 1 month of the offseason is down. Despite it feeling like the Nittany Lions played in the Fiesta Bowl at least 4 or 5 months ago, it's indeed only been 1 month. However, I'll be a little bit all over the map on the show today, mainly because there are a lot of activities happening on campus this weekend that do not involve football. So that's kind of a rarity around here in a sense that the number 17 Penn State men's hockey team welcomes number 2 Notre Dame to town for a Friday series. Friday is the whiteout game. Saturday night will be a hot ticket to get as well. The Fighting Irish are ranked number 1 in the pairwise, so we'll discuss that one. And also, Saturday night, 8 p.m., airing live on the Big Ten Network, Penn State Wrestling, Ohio State. This is the Big Ten showdown. And it's been an interesting week already for the Nittany Lions, who had 2 victories last weekend, but were dealt their biggest blow of the season in an injury to Jason Nolf. So I'll get to that as well, and you guys will be able to hear from some members of the hockey team, some members of the wrestling team. But as always, what drives this thing will be Penn State football, as per usual. And at this point, Penn State will close out the 2018 recruiting class next Wednesday. So that is the signing day, although there's certainly not as much hype, not nearly as much anticipation either, because of that early signing period. So Penn State already has 22 kids signed. So the magic number that I'm looking at here, I think realistically, is 3. That's probably what you'll see. Now, granted, I also would not be surprised if Penn State would only use up 2 of these final 3 spots. And I say that because when you look at this class, at this point, there really aren't any secrets. And I wrote about it on the site this week, the fact that Penn State has been after Solomon Enos, the 4-star wide receiver from out in Phoenix, Arizona. Of course, he's the son of Curtis Enos. They've been after Solomon for quite some time. And they've also been after offensive tackle Rasheed Walker. So those are your top 2 targets at this point. No surprises. I know there have been some grumblings out there about potentially Penn State maybe adding another cornerback. But for the time being, those are the 2. Now, will Penn State get one of those guys, both of those guys, neither of them? I think you have to feel pretty good if you're Penn State that you at least get one of those guys. Barring a late push from another school, for Walker, of course, it's down to Penn State, Ohio State. And, of course, for Enos, you've got Penn State in there as well as some West Coast schools. So that could sway things. But I think what really makes this signing period now, the second signing period, so interesting is that for these kids, like these 2 who haven't signed yet, they almost have to wait and kind of see where the dominoes fall. Now, they're certainly high priority guys for Penn State. Penn State has spots for them, but you're kind of waiting and seeing what happens at other schools. And that's why I say, maybe you do see Penn State take another defensive back in this class, but I don't think that move comes until you hear from either of these 2 guys on signing day. So still some time to wait it out for James Franklin and staff, but the dynamic is so different around here, and you really have been seeing it also on social media. A lot of 2019 offers have gone out this week. The staff has been on the road, kind of getting offers lined up, looking ahead to the future, which was supposed to be one of the key components to the early signing period in the first place. This rule was put in place that prospects who knew what they wanted to do would sign, get it out of the way, and then the benefit of that for the coaching staff would be that they could look ahead to 2019 and beyond. So we're certainly seeing that come into place. And I will get to some of your questions too, because some of them that I saw this week were definitely related to the signing period and, who does Penn State get and that sort of thing. And one of the interesting questions that came up this week was, what happens with Hasheem Young? Now, many of you, of course, will remember Young was the defensive back who committed to Penn State, but then the whole incident regarding the Wawa in Philadelphia came to light here about maybe a month or 2 ago, it feels like at this point. But, Young was 17 back in July when police claimed that he robbed a Wawa in South Philadelphia. and also allegedly took $13,600. Hasheem Young has maintained his innocence, and as recently as this past week, his attorney is trying to get him, is trying to say that Young, because at the time of the incident, was not 18 years old, he was 17. So he's going to try and get him tried on that. Again, this case is far from closed, and people have said, well, where does Young end up from a college perspective? We're nowhere near that point. At this date, expect to see Hasheem Young back in court on February 8th for his arraignment. So, again, this thing legally has to work itself out first, but Penn State has certainly moved on. If anything, if Young would be cleared of this, and again, there's really no inkling one way or the other that that's going to happen, presumably then that would potentially be a junior college route guy, but not in Penn State's plans. But again, legally there are much bigger issues at play right now for him than, where he could potentially go to college, assuming that other things work out. So that was definitely one of the questions that I saw quite a bit out there this week when you kind of look at, that's where that need comes in. When you look at Penn State's class and say, well, what could they have done differently? That's just, Young was one of those instances where you take a highly touted guy, and just turns out that it is, I'd be shocked, I'll say it this, but I'll be shocked if it works out for him, whether that be here or elsewhere. Another question this week from the podcast, and as always, if you guys want to leave them right here in the link below, that works. Otherwise, I'll go through the articles throughout the week and check them out. Another one of them regarding the early signing period is, with all the coaching moves, not just at Penn State, but everywhere, do you think recruits will think differently before signing during the early signing period next December? I say yes and no to this, and I say yes because I think you're going to see some kids who, signed one place in December, then coaching changes happened, and they're caught in the middle of it. So I say yes to those kids who say, well, yeah, you're stuck. But I also say no to that because you get a lot of kids who are committing to a school and not necessarily a coach, or at least that's what they claim. And, you get some of these kids, and I know James Franklin's talked about it a lot of times in terms of why he likes the early signing period, is the kids that like you, they're committed. They're not going anywhere. You don't have to worry about continuing to recruit them, to re-recruit them. They're signed in. The headache is off the table for both parties. But you then, of course, are always going to see the flip side of that. And interestingly enough, this week, there was a piece of legislation floating around about the NCAA, potentially wanting to allow kids to transfer without penalty when a coaching change happens. I think that really is a game changer because you look at, potentially anyway, we'll see what happens. You look at what has happened with the graduate transfer rule, especially when it comes to quarterbacks and how that's been used. A transfer clause would essentially give these players more leverage. And I think what we've all seen throughout the NCAA here is that the players do not have much, if any, leverage in these situations. They're the ones kind of stuck out there blowing in the wind while these coaches can come and go as they please. So we'll have to see kind of if you maybe see any of these numbers change with next year with the early signing period. But I think from a Penn State perspective, they've done well in the early signing period, and also has helped that they haven't gone, through a huge head coaching change here in the last few years. I mean, that's really when you see kids begin to wonder. You see that way more so with head coaches than you do with coordinators and certainly with position coaches. When we come back on the Penn State show, going to talk a little hockey, something we don't do here often, but we'll have that when we come back.
Mike Lang here reminding you it's hockey season, and Lions Pride has everything Penn State for every Penn Stater. Oh, hallelujah, Hollywood. They have a wide selection of hockey hats, t-shirts, jerseys, and hoodies. Lions Pride is your one-stop Penn State shop for the Nittany Lion hockey fan in your family. Get in the fast lane, Grandma, and stop by our store at 112 East College Avenue before or after the games at Pacula Arena, or shop online 24/7 at lions-pride.com. Lions Pride, everything Penn State for every Penn Stater.
It's time to cash in on non-stop sports action with MyBookie.ag. They have in-game live betting on nearly every sporting event, plus MyBookie.ag will match your deposit with a bonus up to 100%. With decades of expertise and no-hassle payouts, you'll experience the greatest customer service in the business, guaranteed. Use promo code DKRadio to activate your bonus of up to 100%. Call 844-900-BETS or visit MyBookie.ag to open an account. Sign up today.
Miller Lite is the original light beer, and we'll always brew it to have more taste, with only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs. Because we believe that if you compromise on taste, you can taste the compromise. Miller Lite. Hold true.
Great beer, great responsibility. 2018 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Average analysis, 12 fluid ounces. Less than 1 gram protein, 0 grams fat.
What I want from my public accounting firm is big ideas.
But I don't want to lose the personal attention.
My company needs global capabilities.
From a firm with local ownership.
And I want to work with industry experts.
Who take the time to understand my unique challenges. And that's what sets Snyder Downs apart. Expertise for the most complex business issues. With the service you need every day. To learn how our big thinking with a personal focus can help your company, visit SnyderDowns.com.
If you're one of the thousands of Western Pennsylvanians who love to get outdoors, then you need to check out this amazing new website, stepoutside.org. Hi, I'm Dan Kovacevic of DK Sports Radio. I'm born and raised in Pittsburgh. I know about the outdoor life that's available to all of us in Western Pennsylvania. Learn where, when, and how you can go camping, hiking, hunting, take part in power sports, shooting sports, water sports, in your local community, across our region, across the country.
Welcome back to the Penn State Show here on DK Sports Radio and Hockey Valley, as they call it. If you have not experienced a hockey game in Pagula Ice Arena, it's really cool. And I say this as someone who is not a hockey person. This will not come across as a surprise to any of you that know me or have been reading, watching, listening along for quite some time. That is a sport that I just, as a kid, never got into, but certainly covering it, you get familiar with it, especially this time of year when things slow down, or at least get as slow as they ever do on the football front. So I had a chance to head over to Pagula earlier this week to talk with Guy Gadowski and several of the Nittany Lions ahead of this weekend's showdown against number 2 Notre Dame. Really, what a testament I feel like this weekend is, and really last weekend too for Penn State. You look at it, they dropped the series to Wisconsin, but what a testament it is to Big Ten hockey. Right now, you have 6 Big Ten teams ranked within the top 20 in the pairwise rankings, and so in the pairwise, Notre Dame is ranked number 1. So this is the measuring stick for Penn State. Friday night, 6:30 p.m. is the whiteout game. So talking with Andrew Sturtz about that and kind of the strength of the Big Ten and all that's at stake this weekend, you couldn't help but notice that talking to Sturtz and some of these other Nittany Lions, that they started to smile right away when talking about this series and what's at stake. Take a listen to Andrew Sturtz. What's the benefit of playing in a loaded conference like you guys do? Because obviously we always hear and talk about the drawback, March. But
yeah, I mean, I think anything for the players at least, it's like, you're playing against some of the best competition every night. And then I think from like a team standpoint, when outsiders look at like rankings, stuff like that, you always have a chance to stay alive. And you know what? That's where we are right now. We're still in the hunt. We're still alive. And we have a chance at one of the top teams in the country this weekend in our own rink in the middle of February, and it's a hot ticket. So I think for us, it's like, you know what, we got a great opportunity here, and it's our job to take advantage of it.
And you're smiling saying that. How do you guys as a team try and kind of harness that energy so you're not too up come Friday night?
Yeah, I think me personally, it's doing other things besides hockey throughout the week. It's getting involved in the community, doing extra schoolwork, whatever it takes to keep my mind off it until about Thursday night, and then I think a lot of guys start dialing in Thursday night. A lot of guys go to different dinners together. We'll hang out, start thinking about the games, just like we do when we're on the road. And then Friday, everyone's got their own routines. And I think for our team, this one's marked on the calendar since I think we went there, so we're pretty excited.
Also important to note that Penn State did drop both games to Notre Dame earlier this year in South Bend. Really, the Saturday game for them was a frustrating one in the sense that, for a Penn State team that is known for getting a lot of shots on goal, that's really been their identity here as a D1 program. The fact that they were shut out in that game, despite Peyton Jones playing really well, something that certainly did not sit well around here, especially with those across campus in the Pagula Ice Arena locker rooms. So also worth noting that the Nittany Lions did not have Dennis Smirnov in that series. So getting him back and getting the offense going and flowing through him will certainly be important this weekend. But that's not the only showdown here at Happy Valley this weekend. When we come back, I spent some time also in the wrestling room, sweating it out over there in the seemingly 100-degree temperatures to hear from Kel Sanderson and the Nittany Lions ahead of their Saturday night, showdown in Rec Hall against Ohio State. We'll hear from Sanderson and the Nittany Lions right when we come back.
Mike Lang here reminding you it's hockey season, and Lions Pride has everything Penn State for every Penn Stater. Oh, hallelujah, Hollywood. They have a wide selection of hockey hats, t-shirts, jerseys, and hoodies. Lions Pride is your one-stop Penn State shop for the Nittany Lion hockey fan in your family. Get in the fast lane, Grandma, and stop by our store at 112 East College Avenue before or after the games at Pagula Arena, or shop online 24/7 at lions-pride.com. Lions Pride, everything Penn State for every Penn Stater.
In Pittsburgh, we bleed black and gold and love our city. Born in Pittsburgh and now celebrating 130 years in business, Henny Jewelers is proud to be your premier jewelry store. Whether it's choosing that watch you've always wanted or you're searching for the ring that was made for her, trust Henny Jewelers. Visit our store on Walnut Street in Shadyside to see our extensive inventory of designer engagement rings, watches, and one-of-a-kind jewelry. For more, go to hennyjewelers.com. and follow on social.
Embarrassed by that stained carpet in your office? Tired of looking at your dull, dirty floor? My Floor Needs is here to fix that. With years of experience and 24/7 service, My Floor Needs offers stripping and waxing, carpet, tile, grout, and concrete cleaning, as well as polishing and buffing services. Call 888-67-MY-FLOOR or email info@myfloorneeds.com for a free estimate and get your floors looking like new again. Whatever your floor needs, call 888-67-MY-FLOOR.
Does your company ever miss its sales goals or struggle getting new business?
Is it tough to hire or to give reps the right tools?
Hi, I'm Dan, and I started Engaged Prospect right here in Pittsburgh to help companies like yours.
And I'm Sam. We're helping companies hit sales goals and grow their businesses.
Think of us as your inside sales team.
Our clients are experts in their fields. We're experts in inside sales.
Give us a call today at 412-715-5151.
Or visit us online at engagedprospect.com/DK.
It's been 50 years since the Summer of Love, but if you're not performing as well as you'd like, check out NEDforless.com. I'm Eric Cushy of Curtis Pharmacy. Don't pay premium prices for the little blue pill. So Denafil, the same active ingredient as in Viagra, costs 80% less. NEDforless.com. All we need is your physician's name. We do the rest. Free shipping, too. NDDforless.com. Curtis Pharmacy, Western PA's Better Way Pharmacy.
And we're back on the Penn State show, and Penn State wrestling, I'd say they're back, but really they've never gone anywhere, especially this program under Kel Sanderson. The Nittany Lions had a split weekend last weekend where they faced Minnesota at home and then were at Rutgers for the meeting again with former Nittany Lion Nick Suriano. Penn State was victorious, of course, in both of those matches. You know, they're undefeated in the dual slate this year, but really their biggest defeat came when Jason Nolf, their defending NCAA champion, got hurt against Rutgers. Nolf sustained what certainly appeared to be a knee injury, and Cale Sanderson said Monday on his radio show that while this injury isn't necessarily significant, they are not going to push Nolf into any of the remaining 3 duels the rest of the season. So really now it's a matter of who steps up into that spot at 157, and will Nolf, I mean, they're presuming he's going to be healthy for the postseason, but how will he kind of rebound when he comes back? You look at it, Big Ten's start March 3rd. They're out in East Lansing, Michigan this year. And then, of course, they will be followed by NCAA. So Nolf has, a month or so about to recover when you look at the knee injury. But really for Penn State, I mean, this is a team that prides itself on consistency. And whenever I get a chance to go over there, whether it's in the wrestling room or, seeing these guys compete at Rec Hall, it's really the same message. They made note of it on the broadcast this past weekend about the Penn State wrestlers. They said, it's always about gratitude and competing hard. And really that's so much of what you hear when you go over there. If you're looking for awesome, insanely, juicy quotes, you will not find that in the Penn State wrestling group. But what you will find is an insane amount of dedication, consistency, and really just the performance level here has been remarkable. But this weekend, Saturday night, 8 o'clock on the Big Ten Network against Ohio State, is certainly as big as it gets in the Big Ten. So here's a listen to Cale Sanderson talking about the showdown with the Buckeyes this weekend.
Well, I think there's a lot of interest in college wrestling right now. I think 10 years ago, a Penn State Ohio State is a big match, but it's not like it is today, right? It's I have 2 of the best teams in the country, and they have multiple national champions on their team. We have multiple national champions, so I think it's certainly a positive, right? I mean, to gain the interest that this match has, I would say. I mean, it would have to be an Iowa State or Iowa-Oklahoma State. Maybe Oklahoma State back in the day. So it's good. I think wrestling's getting bigger and growing, and it's fun to be a part of that.
So there you have it. Fun to be a part of it for the Nittany Lions, who take on number 2 Ohio State. That number 1, number 2 showdown on the Big Ten Network is going to be absolutely crazy. Tickets on the secondary market this week, I've looked on Ticketmaster out of curiosity, anywhere between $85 and $225 to get in the door in Rec Hall Saturday night. So that one should be a lot of fun. Cale Sanderson, really as per usual, wouldn't tip his hand much on the weight classes and who they're expecting to kind of throw out there. You could potentially see a change-up at 125. That's something that Sanderson has mentioned here the last few weeks. Of course, they have the transfer from Boise State, who is yet to make his Penn State debut, which could be a really interesting storyline if that happens. And also at 197, Shakur Rashid met with the media this week and said that, he's planning on going out there thinking he's going to wrestle, but Penn State at some point is going to have to decide what they do at 197. They've got 2 really strong options right now, so I think it's just a matter of kind of figuring out one of those guys, which Sanderson said this week he thinks both could be All-Americans. So again, a good problem for Penn State to have, but I'll have your coverage Saturday night in Rec Hall, and I will be at hockey Friday night. So busy weekend on tap around here, and that'll do it for this week's edition of the Penn State Show. I'll catch you guys again next week when we'll see what in the world is going on in Happy Valley. Until then, take care.